my channel. My name is Greg, and I'm going to be putting together a pump system for the pond. I have a compressor I picked up from Harbor Freight and a motor, piece of plate steel I just cut and set it on there. And here's my helper. As you can see, he's really excited. Got a belt for it and a pulley, and the information to get the right pulleys and belts on these setups you can get directly from the compressor. There's a formula that comes in the book that comes with the compressor. You can download the book prior to purchasing it. It's available on the internet through Harbor Freight. This is a 1 horsepower motor, and I'm going to be setting it up on this trailer. And then I'm going to put a couple batteries with it and control circuitry to go with it. Batteries are 6-volt batteries. There's 2 of them, and they're 20 amp hours a piece. And for golf carts, I'd like to have had 4, but well, the budget only allowed for 2. Now we're starting to draw a crowd. Skilly D! Hey, buddy. Here comes all the helpers. Alright, we'll take a look at the control system. You're going to need an inverter and a controller for the solar panels. Got a master on-off switch. This is the necessary cabling. There's a temperature sensor for the control for the fans. So I have a couple of fans here. We got the solenoid. This is a 250 amp solenoid. This is just a regular toggle switch. A decent one. This right here is a timer. This timer will enable this solenoid during a certain time of the day so it can run. This particular switch right here can bypass it. And I got some DC voltage meters, AC voltage meter, and that's about it for now. I'm going to line them up, lay them out where I want them to be, cut some holes, and then put them in there. Okay, I took a hammer and a chisel, take a center punch to get a hole started right here. You want to center punch it in the center of your hole, and then drill a starting hole. So that's what I did, is I drilled a starting hole, a smaller bit over here than what I'm going to end up with. I'm going to do that to both sides. After I get those holes done, I'm going to go with a larger drill bit, 1/2 inch. Now, on those mounting holes, I finished drilling this side with a 1/2 inch bolt in there with 1 flat washer on this bracket. Underneath, they put a lock washer and a nut. And this is aluminum, and it should, it will bite into there very well, and it shouldn't come loose from vibration. It's about 1.25 inches long. Really, what are you doing interrupting the video, boy? Dang. Gotta finish drilling this side out. This angle bracket is a uni-strut bracket. I got it from Menards for like $1.20. I'm just going to take this 1/2 inch bolt, put a washer on it. Lock washer and a nut, just like the other side. Tighten those down, and then these 2 brackets will go against the inside of that trailer so that this is bolted up and does not slide off or vibrate loose. Using a 3/4 inch wrench, I'll go ahead and tighten down the bolt. That's the size that it is. I happen to have a stubby and a long one. These stubbies are great. You should get yourself some. They work really well for holding bolts and nuts, like tighten them in tight places. Or you could use like a 19mm in place with 3/4. And then get on it really, really tight. 2 long wrenches, a 3/4 and a 19mm. So think about your metric, you'll fit. You just got to find out which ones. Went ahead and put the trailer, the small trailer, on the large trailer here with the pump assembly up there. Getting ready to slide it to the front and bolt it down. I want to take a closer look at this. All it has is a motor. The pulley you have to get separate, and you need to know what size, depending on what horsepower you got, to match the pump. This pump assembly, around 130 bucks from Harbor Freight. This is around 150. And I don't remember if I got it from Harbor Freight or online. I might have got this online. And then I just took a steel plate, drilled some holes, bolted the motor on it. Same thing with the pump. There's only 4 bolts, as you can see. Take a closer look at the other side here. And I took some aluminum angle, put a piece of angle on each side so it has clearance on the bottom for this pulley to be able to turn freely without touching. Worked out really well. Here's another look at it. That's just angle, piece of 90-degree angle aluminum, bolted to stainless steel plate. Doesn't have to be stainless, could be just any kind of decent metal you just got laying around. And then the pump itself, I took a T-fitting and for water, and I got an adapter for it to fit on there so I can use it like a manifold. This is a pressure relief valve. This is where the air comes out. Of course, this is your pressure gauge. It's just that simple. Now these things right here, all this together was somewhere around $50, maybe a little bit less. And you have, and where I got them from, I got multiple ones of these in a package. So, okay, now I'm going to slide it towards the front and bolt it down using these brackets here. Move it all the way to the front. I took a tape measure and measured each side to make them equal. And I took a marker. This one works really well. It's a Milwaukee. I'm just taking, draw on the inside of that bracket that we had attached earlier. See if I can get you a shot of that. Just draw a circle in there and you're done. Do the same the other side, and then we're going to pull it back and drill some holes for it. I pull it back and I can see the circle down here that I've marked. I take my center punch and I put it in the center of the circle and I hit it with a hammer to get a little dent in there started. I take the drill with a small bit and drill on it carefully, keeping it centered up. Once I get through with a smaller one, then I'll go to a bigger drill bit. Here's a small one over here, drill straight through. When you're drilling, be patient and hold a steady pressure on the drill bit. Use some light lubricant, such as WD-40, to help you get through that metal a little easier. Now we have the 2 holes drilled. We're going to push the compressor brackets all the way up, flush to it, and bolt it on to the front of the trailer. If any prying is involved, be sure and use a pry bar. Don't use screwdrivers to pry with, you damage them.
I've seen a lot of mechanics have to buy tools over and over again because they don't know how to use them properly. Now the compressor is bolted up, so it's really solid. I'll take a closer look at this motor. I use a standard 3-prong 110 volt plug and a 12 2-wire, which means it has 3 wires in it: a power, a neutral, and a ground. When you look on the inside of the cover here, it will show you how to wire it up. You stick the wire in through the hole. There's your 3 wires that go to the plug. The green one goes to the green bolt right there, so that one's out of the way. And all you have to do is figure out which ones to hook to here with the last 2. On the inside of the cover, it shows you which way to hook them up. So you have to look at that and read it for your setup, whether it be 110 volt clockwise, 110 volt counterclockwise, or if you're going 220 volts clockwise or 220 volts counterclockwise. There's just 2 bolts, a rubber gasket that go back on here, and it even has an overload switch on it that can be reset. It's just that simple. Making sure the wires are back in the cover, and we put the 2 bolts back on. There's a rubber gasket to help fight against moisture. Here's the plug. We want to do a run test to see what it sounds like. Starts up really well, easy. Turns counterclockwise. That's the direction the pump must turn in order to compress the air. Go ahead and take you around to the pressure side so we can take a closer look at it while it's running. Pressure gauge, manifold, where air comes out at. You're hooking the diffuser hose up to here, so I have to cut a hole through here in order to get the hose in there. So what I'm going to do next is work on marking out that hole and then cut a hole in the back using a hole saw. I'll show you how that's done. Okay, I got the hole saw set out, and I'm going to go ahead and mark this area on the trailer where I need to drill a hole at. I'm going to take a marker, line it up halfway decent here, the right height, mark it, and I'm going to measure from the top to there, and then go on the other side and mark it to the same distance and drill a hole from the back side. Got some scrap wood, put a piece down in there, and run a couple screws in it so these batteries can only go so far. Just set the batteries up here, that's it. There's room for 2 more batteries on that side for expansion, so this system can be doubled. Take a look at that hole saw. Kit like this comes with various different sizes. You just take this part and put it in your drill, and you screw on this adapter so you can cut with this component. After making a mark, I went ahead and drilled a small hole in here, and I put it through. You can see it coming through. It lines up pretty good. So that's how you can check it. Now all I have to do is take the hole saw that has a drill bit in it. That's how it comes. You start drilling in that hole with the drill bit. Once the big part makes contact with the surface, you just keep going until it punches your hole through. It's really that simple. Line up the drill bit and then drill through it. It makes contact. As you can see, it's drilling a hole. Okay, now we can go ahead and put that hose on there. Got the components laid out in the back of the trailer so I can see how they're going to fit. Generally something like that. I got to put that on a piece of wood so they're mounted on an angle. This relay, I'm just going to go ahead and bolt it right to the side here. And then well, these pins got to go over to the inverter. Negative sign is the negative and positive. Black side being the negative, of course. Mount a main power switch in here. This I'm going to put on the outside. A little bit in front of the batteries there. And this way I can switch the entire system off. I'm going to control the ground side to switch the ground off. And I'm just going to go ahead and screw it right to the side there. It came with some bolts. Power switch. It's really lightweight. It's got parts of plastic to slide in here to close it. Kind of customizable. Pretty nice little setup. Right now I got to cut the wood for this. So I found that cutting wood works real well with 2 2x4s on these plastic sawhorses. You can get them really cheap, like 15 bucks a piece at various different places. And then just put 2 2x4s to make a length. Set your material that you're going to cut up on it. This is some thin 1/8 inch board. And I'm going to cut a 30-inch piece off so I can start mounting the components on it. I just held the switch up there and just took a drill bit and put it in there and scratched the side here, and then just drilled a hole through it and bolted it up and leveled it off the way I want it to be. Now I'm going to go ahead and scratch a hole through there with the drill for the rest of them. There's 4 altogether. And then finish drilling them out. Take the switch back off, finish drilling them out. And I got the holes drilled for the switch. Goes right here. You look on the back side, there's 2 studs. The ground cable has to go to the bottom one, so underneath the switch I drilled a hole down here, or a pilot hole. I'm going to go ahead and use a hole saw to drill a hole through there to run cables back to the battery. Run 2 negative cables to it. And the cable size is a number 8, I believe. I'll have to check on that. There's 2 of them that have to go to the inverter, so it can handle all the power. Piece of wood I got laying at an angle. And I drew out some lines. Hard to see with the camera, but I just set the inverter on here and drew around it. And I can see I have to lower it because of where it's set, man. I have a piece of wood back here. I just held it up there and drew lines out and drilled a hole on each side and run a bolt in it. And this is going to lay on top of there. So all the components can mount on this wood. And it can be easily removed just by unplugging a few things. So let's go make a cable. Cable is number 8. I need 2 strands of this material. We started with the negative side, so I've got a bundle of each. I picked up a tool here for smashing the ends, and the ends are copper. Put the whole bag of down. These are 3/8 holes. They're copper coated with zinc plating, so they can withstand the moisture and not rot. Just have to cut the size of cable you want. You slide the end in there, place it in the tool, and hit it with a hammer. First, I got to get the length, so I'm going to go do the hole saw, and picked out the smallest one I have. 2 wires will fit through that hole, so that's the size hole that's going to be underneath the switch that I just talked about. Okay, I got the hole saw set up. I'll go ahead and use it with my battery powered drill and just run it through there. So the wire has to go through there. It's going to go up to the bottom of the switch and come back up to the battery ground. And I need 2 of them. These are copper. It is number 8. Now to get the cable ends, look like that. Use this tool I mentioned earlier. Just take the end, and you have to put it in there. It just sets in there. There's little grooves there to stop it from going any further. Now you have to put your cable in there to see how long to cut the end off. I'm going to just use a sharp tool to cut through the rubber carefully. Now, just place it in. Connector and hit it with a hammer. It crimps it really well. Tap the end down a little bit more. Cut a couple pieces of shrink tubing. Put it over the end here and shrink wrap that on there. Put that on there and put some heat to it. To get that shrink wrap, I just kept working it until I finally got it to where I wanted it. It was a little bit difficult. It is 3/8. I'm going to both of them. I just need to heat that up.